300 years ago, the world changed forever. Massive spatial rifts tore open the sky, unleashing a catastrophe upon humanity. But from the ashes of despair, a new power emerged. The chosen few awakened incredible abilities, becoming professionals. And now, today is the day for a new generation. Instructor Li Yu calls the next student to the stage. His name is Lin Luo, and he's convinced he's the main character. He believes this is his moment to finally shine. He places his hand on the awakening stone. The stone glows as he declares this his moment of destiny. But his confidence shatters at the unexpected result. Instructor Li Yu officially announces his awakening as a D-rank priest. He walks away from the stage in a daze, while the crowd murmurs in disbelief. The words "male healer" echo around him, a crushing weight. His classmates try to cheer him up, though one can't resist a jab. But Lin Luo isn't taking any mockery today. He reminds them that a healer's favor is not easily earned. Having made his point, he demands a new, slightly less embarrassing nickname. He sees his future not as a hero, but as a supporter. His friend tries to break him out of his funk. Tang Chung, a C-rank rock knight, offers to team up. He envisions them as a classic tank and healer duo. Suddenly, a brilliant pillar of light erupts from the stage. The students shield their eyes from the dazzling radiance. A new figure emerges, Lian Yining, the Spirit Frost Maiden. Her power is confirmed with an incredible A-rank rating. The crowd links her success to her looks and grades naturally. As she walks past, Lin Luo can only stare, completely mesmerized. The instructor praises Lian Yining's A-rank awakening. Meanwhile, the ceremony continues with mixed results for others. Lin Luo quietly accepts his fate as a D-rank healer. He decides to check his personal attribute panel for the first time, but his first skill is something he's never heard of. A mutated skill with a rather aggressive description. He realizes it's the complete opposite of a healing art. His skill tree is mostly locked, leaving him to wonder about its potential. A sudden realization dawns on him. What if he can force all his skills to mutate? Convinced his theory is worth trying, Lin Luo immediately gets to work. Tang Chung watches, confused by his friend's sudden intensity. Lin Luo explains he's buying skill books, a luxury afforded by his wealthy sailor aunt. Meanwhile, Instructor Li Yu officially brings the awakening ceremony to a close. The students are dismissed and told they can finally go home. She offers a final word of encouragement to those whose paths will be different. But Lin Luo is already rushing through the crowd, ignoring his friend's calls. He's already ordered 2 new skills and is desperate to see them mutate. His classmates can only watch, assuming he's crushed by his D-rank awakening. A short while later, a delivery arrives at his very large home. Back in his luxurious home, Lin Luo holds his 2 new skill scrolls. The scrolls are for recovery art and calmness art. Without a moment's hesitation, he begins the learning process. The system confirms the skills are being absorbed, and he watches with intense focus, waiting for the mutation. His theory is proven correct. Blood fever and enhanced pain. He immediately begins to strategize, combining his new debuffs. A wicked grin spreads across his face. No one will call him a simple healer now. Just then, a notification pings. He's been added to a group chat. He realizes it's a group for all the newly awakened combat professionals. Instructor Li Yu lays out the plan, 10 days to train for a major exam. Lin Luo reads the message with a chillingly confident smirk. He imagines himself on a throne of skulls, ready to show them all what healing truly means. His mind races with visions of his enemies falling before his twisted arts. Meanwhile, on a quiet basketball court, the mood is far more somber. Lian Yining's friend asks why she seems so down, guessing it's about Lin Luo. She tries to deny it, but her friend sees right through the lie. Her friend reminds her that their paths are now diverging due to their different ranks. The harsh reality of their situation leaves Lian Yining completely stunned. Just then, another A-ranker, Yang Haoran, approaches to talk about their bright futures. Her friend explains that Yang Haoran, an A-rank magic swordsman, has pursued her for some time, but Lian Yining cuts him off with a cold rejection. She declares her future is her own business and walks away. Left behind, his friendly facade crumbles into a bitter sneer. He threatens her, revealing he knows about her feelings for the D-rank Lin Luo. The scene shifts to the Demon Rat Plains, a training ground for novices. Lin Luo arrives, ready to test his mutated arts. His eyes burn with a dangerous determination. Nearby, a party is recruiting members for a hunt, calling out for various roles, including a priest. How convenient. A woman in red approaches, offering to team up with the young rookie. But Lin Luo politely declines, preferring to act alone. Her armored companion questions her interest in the boy. The man scoffs at his arrogance, but she sees a rare composure. They move on to hunt a special monster, leaving Lin Luo to his own devices. Deeper in the plains, another party struggles against the vicious demon rats. Lin Lo observes a lone demon rat from the safety of a nearby tree. He analyzes its stats, a level 2 demonized rat with bloodthirsty skills. He understands why teams are necessary, but it's time to test his own skills. He unleashes his first mutated art on the unsuspecting creature. Lin Lo is stunned by the sheer power of his mutated skill. He can't believe a D-rank priest could kill a monster so quickly. Eager to see more, he immediately targets another one. The second rat dissolves just as fast, granting him a burst of experience. And just like that, he's already leveled up. He opens his attribute panel, ready to allocate his new points. Knowing a priest's power scales with their mental attribute, he prepares to invest heavily. But first, he wants to test his final skill, Enhanced Pain. He casts the spell but is confused by the lack of results. The rat just squeals and charges, apparently not in the mood for extra suffering. The rat's body is instantly torn apart by his dark art. He realizes his attack is too fast for his pain-enhancing skill to work. Days pass in a blur of grinding and slaughter, and soon enough, he reaches the coveted level 10. He's thrilled with his progress, having done it in just 6 days. His skill tree reveals some rather unconventional new options. He questions the sanity of a priest learning acute gastroenteritis. Suddenly, a chorus of squeaks echoes through the plains. A much larger, more menacing creature emerges from the trees. Lin Lo realizes he's killed so many rats he's summoned the boss. The massive rat lunges forward with blinding speed, but Lin Lo is unfazed, calmly raising his hand. He unleashes his dark art, striking the beast head-on. He notes that his skill bypasses its defenses just as he'd hoped. He stacks his debuffs, causing the creature to shriek in agony. This is a level 15 boss, a challenge for a full party of 10, but for Lin Lo's mutated arts, it's just another weakling. He turns away, ready to collect his loot, but he's not alone. A group of professionals appears, claiming this entire area for their guild. Lin Lo simply looks up, his dark aura swirling, and challenges their claim. Lin Lo simply watches them, a picture of calm confidence. The guild members struggle with the weakened boss, shouting warnings to each other. One of them is suspicious, believing Lin Luo's surrender was far too easy. But Lin Luo just offers a peace sign as a dark purple energy gathers around his staff. The guild leader warns his team to stay focused on the monster. Suddenly, one of the men clutches his stomach, overcome with a sudden violent illness. He screams in agony, unable to control the sudden affliction. And then he's overcome by a rather explosive biological event. His teammates are horrified by the sight and the sudden stomach pains of their own. The smell is overwhelming, and they realize this is worse than any poison bomb. The guild leader can't focus, distracted by the overwhelming stench. Lin Luo, however, is completely unbothered, having come prepared. He watches the chaos unfold with a wicked grin. As the guild members double over in pain, Lin Luo decides to add another layer to their suffering. A dark energy erupts, finishing off the weakened fighters. In the end, he stands alone amidst the carnage. The boss drops a massive pile of loot, including a rare skill book. He notes the incredibly low drop rate, wondering if his solo hunt was the key. He also discovers that equipment skills, unlike his own, cannot be mutated. Lin Lo decides to learn the new skill he just acquired. The skill begins to integrate with his system, and just as he hoped, it mutates into Black Death Outbreak. He recognizes the name, a plague that once devastated humanity. He knows that even at level 1, its potential is terrifying. With his new power secured, he stores the rest of his loot, but a sudden cracking sound shatters the quiet. He looks up to see a tier in reality itself, a secret realm. An undiscovered dungeon, the Scarlet Altar, has just appeared before him. These realms are known to be incredibly rare, filled with priceless loot, and they only open once. He knows that the greater the risk, the greater the reward. A token reveals this realm is hard difficulty, a serious challenge for a solo player. But leaving to find help risks losing this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He decides to gamble, tossing the token into the portal. But just then, the party from before returns, celebrating a successful hunt. The woman in red immediately spots the entrance to the secret realm. They can't believe their luck, stumbling upon such a rare find. But their excitement fades when they realize they're too high level to enter. The woman in red immediately makes an offer, claiming the realm for herself. Her companions are left stunned by her sudden power move. The woman in red isn't worried, claiming the realm for her niece. Inside, Lin Luo finds himself in the Scarlet Altar. His mission is clear, but the difficulty is immense. He analyzes the level 15 demonized lizards. Their stats are high for a common monster, but their low intelligence is a weakness he can exploit. The creatures charge, their senses sharper than he expected. He prepares to cast a spell to halt their advance. His curse takes hold with a sudden, violent effect. Ah yes, the most powerful weapon in his arsenal, biological warfare. He realizes the cave's poor ventilation makes his usual tactics self-destructive. It seems he'll have to rely on his newest, more deadly skill. Meanwhile, outside the portal, the woman in red waits for her guest of honor. A young woman arrives, presenting her aunt with a fluorescent cat she found. The aunt offers a gift in return, the secret realm itself. She assures her niece that a team of elite bodyguards will guarantee her safety. The men pledge their lives to protect none other than Lian Yining. Lian Yining reluctantly accepts, though she'd hoped to form her own party. Her aunt pushes her forward, urging her to enter before they're discovered. But before she can step through, she's suddenly yanked into the portal. Her bodyguards realize someone is already inside, blocking their entry. The woman in red assumes it's a novice who will die soon enough. But Lian Yining can only wonder who could have beaten them there. Inside the altar, a lizard creature is consumed by a dark, sickening art. Linluo stands over the fallen, bathed in the light of another level up. He marvels at his rapid progress in the high-difficulty realm. He considers the true power of his Black Death skill. In an enclosed space with so many targets, it's the perfect weapon. But he knows a direct assault against the Horde would be suicide. He needs a carrier, a way to spread his plague through the ranks. And then he spots the perfect candidate. A level 15 elite monster, the White Lizard. He realizes it's the perfect carrier for his plague. He unleashes his Black Death outbreak, infecting the elite monster with his dark art. The creature is visibly confused, its subordinates chattering in alarm. With a confident smirk, Linluo watches his plan unfold. The infected carrier returns to the heart of the lizard den. He sits back, sensing the virus spreading exponentially. He notes their lack of hygiene is making his job far too easy. Linluo raises his staff, declaring the hour has arrived. With a single word, he triggers the plague. A wave of dark energy erupts from the infected carrier, consuming the entire lizard horde in an instant. Experience points flood his system as the monsters fall. He can feel his power surging, his level climbing rapidly. In just a few minutes, he's gained 6 levels in a row. But as he approaches the altar, he sees he's not quite done yet. A lone figure remains, confused by the human survival. It's the dungeon boss, a level 20 Scarlet Lizard Priest. Linluo realizes this isn't just an elite, but a full-fledged boss. The Scarlet Lizard Priest roars, preparing to unleash its own arts. But Linluo sees an opening, a chance to strike while it's weak. He stacks his debuffs, a cocktail of pain and blood fever. The boss dissolves into nothingness before his overwhelming power. He catches his breath, relieved the boss was a glass cannon. His focus shifts to the next objective, destroying the altar itself. But a strange energy suddenly erupts from the boss's remains. The remaining undead lizards swarm the body, consuming it. They fuse into a grotesque, pulsating mass of flesh because of course they do. The abomination roars, revealing its new form, a level 20 rampage mutation. Dark chains erupt around it, a manifestation of its terrifying power. Linluo can only watch, breathing heavily from his previous battles. He realizes this new boss is a terrifying mix of melee and magic. Worse still, he's completely exhausted with no skills left to cast. The creature lunges forward with a furious roar. It sends him flying with a brutal, overwhelming strike. He quickly pulls out a mana potion, knowing he needs to recover. He tries to drink it as the monster looms over him, but the beast unleashes a powerful charge, giving him no time at all. The monster unleashes a binding art of pure blood energy. Linluo scrambles to evade the crimson tendrils erupting from the ground. He chugs his potion and unleashes his most powerful skill. But the beast is too fast, leaping over the dark projectile. His attack misses completely, striking the ground behind the monster. The creature lands with a ground-shattering impact. But Linluo reveals the boss was never his intended target. As the monster charges, his true plan comes to fruition. The Black Death erupts from the altar, consuming the remaining corpses. He catches his breath, his health critical, but his mana fully restored. The monster roars, confident that Linluo is finished. But our boy, battered and bruised, just smirks. He reveals his true target was never the boss, but the countless corpses littering the cavern floor. He's about to unleash a very unsanitary virus feast. With a final surge of mana, he detonates the entire field. The beast is engulfed in a tidal wave of viral energy. Its own mutated body is no match for the concentrated plague. The boss falls, showering him with experience and loot. He's even scored a new gold-level staff, perfect for his build. He checks his new skills, which include mental confusion and Alzheimer's technique. He marvels at how ridiculous his skill tree has become. With the battle over, it's time to collect his spoils. His new staff even comes with a summoning skill, perfect for manual labor. As his new minions clean up, they uncover a unique D-rank rune. It's a demonized rune, an upgradable item that boosts his stats. And with that, a system notification declares the secret realm complete. The rewards are staggering. Experience, gold, and a host of legendary items. Meanwhile, outside the portal, Lian Yinning and her entourage are still waiting. A figure finally emerges from the Crimson Gateway. It's Lin Luo. Her entourage assumes whoever is inside must have failed their mission. But as Lin Luo emerges from the Crimson Gate, they realize the truth. They offer condolences, assuming he's the sole survivor of a tragic party. But Lian Yinning stares in utter shock, recognizing him immediately. She rushes to his side, worried about his injuries and asking about his team. Lin Luo calmly explains he was alone and now needs to go sell his loot. As he walks away, Lian Yinning follows, calling out his name. Her aunt silences her guards, telling them to secure the portal. But it's too late. The secret realm is already disappearing. They can only stare, finally understanding that he cleared the entire dungeon by himself. The woman in red can only stare, processing the impossible truth. Meanwhile, Lian Yinning chases after Lin Luo, calling for him to wait. She explains the bodyguards weren't her idea and that she believes his story. He brushes it off, but she quickly changes the subject, asking to team up for the exam. An exam that will determine their entire future, no pressure or anything. He tries to dissuade her, citing his low rank, but she's surprisingly insistent. Flustered by her forwardness, Lin Luo reluctantly agrees to her proposal. Later, back at his home, Lin Luo takes stock of his massive haul. He's earned a small fortune, realizing just how lucrative this new life can be. But his quiet moment of reflection is suddenly interrupted. His friend Tang Cheng bursts in, worried he'd been sulking for days. But Lin Luo cuts him off, offering him some of the loot from his hunt. He explains where he's been and proposes they team up for the exam. Tang Cheng is overjoyed by the offer, maybe a little too overjoyed. Meanwhile, in a much less friendly home, a father berates his daughter. He's furious that Lian Yinning is refusing to team up with an S-class professional. But she defends her choice, revealing that Lin Luo cleared the secret realm alone. Her father considers this, but she clarifies he's just a D-rank priest. The man explodes in rage, refusing to believe such an impossible story. But her aunt, the woman in red, confirms the story is true, knowing the boy hides a powerful secret. Her father walks away in defeat, telling them to do as they please. Days later, the exam begins at the base of the colossal trial tower. A reporter broadcasts live from the scene, hyping up the massive event. She explains the tower's legend, a path to godhood for those who can conquer it. The broadcast highlights the top S-rank professionals expected to dominate the trials. Elsewhere, Tang Cheng nervously questions Lin Luo about their third teammate. Just then, Lian Yinning arrives, announcing that their team is now complete. Tang Cheng is ecstatic, but Lin Luo tells them to focus as the trial is about to start. From a balcony above, another professional watches their group with a silent glare. He seethes, remembering how Lian Yinning rejected his own offer to team up. A young man is presented to a figure known only as Boss. The boss, Dongfang, reveals he knows everything about Yang Haoren. Yang Haoren is unnerved by the detailed background check. Dongfang offers him a spot on his team, an offer he eagerly accepts. He callously discards his old teammates, calling it their bad luck. Dongfang then changes the subject, asking about Lian Yinning. Yang Haoren describes her S-class potential, but calls her foolish for rejecting him. But Dongfang clarifies that he has his eyes on someone else entirely. A woman named Murong Xuehen from the powerful Murong family. She too has noticed Lian Yinning's unusual choice of teammates. Her teammates assure Murong Xuehen that victory is certain, but she cares little for rank, her eyes fixed on the ultimate prize. Just then, a massive gate of light opens as the exam officially begins. The students are summoned into the colossal trial tower. They find themselves on the first floor, a world teeming with monsters, and a horde of them is already charging straight for the newcomers. Tang Cheng grins, eager to finally show what he can do. But Lian Yinning is faster, her eyes glowing with icy power. She unleashes a massive frost attack, freezing the entire battlefield. She turns to Lin Luo, vowing to protect him completely, stealing his thunder. The colossal trial tower rumbles with activity. Outside, observers watch as more and more floors light up. One team has already blazed a path to the 7th floor. The top contenders are, as expected, Dongfang and Murong Xuehen. But the third-place team is a surprise, led by an ice user. And her teammate is just sitting there, enjoying the show. Lin Luo calmly tells Lian Yinning he has no healing skills to offer. Other students can only watch, jealous of the D-ranker's position. They assume Lian Yinning has carried her loser teammates to the 10th floor. But her aunt knows the truth, calling him anything but a loser. Outside the tower, the medical bay is overwhelmed with casualties. Two observers note that as the floors get higher, the danger increases exponentially. They explain that past the 15th floor, the monsters are too powerful for any cameras to survive. Looking at the rankings, they see Lian Yining's team has fallen far from third place. Meanwhile, on the 19th floor, the team is exhausted and battered. Lian Yining catches her breath, wondering if she's finally reached her limit. Tang Chung praises her, amazed they've made it this far on her strength alone. But Lin Lo steps forward, his expression grim, and announces he's taking the lead. As Tang Chung questions the change, Lian Yining reveals Lin Luo's true strength. Tang Chung checks the team stats and is stunned to see Lin Luo is level 26. Lin Lo asks Lian Yining to unfreeze the monster. He explains that once freed, it will call for backup. A wicked grin spreads across his face. He wants them to come. Lian Yining agrees, eager to finally witness his true power. The ice shatters as the creature breaks free with a furious roar. It immediately bolts, disappearing into the distance with surprising speed. But Lin Lo is suddenly taken aback by what he senses. An entire horde of monsters suddenly appears over the ridge. His teammates are stunned, certain they had cleared this area already. Lin Lo spots another team watching from the cliffs above. The rival team smirks, revealing they lured the monsters on purpose. Elsewhere, another team's warrior is overwhelmed by the sudden attack. But just as the monster strikes, its attack is suddenly blocked. Lin Lo stands before her, flanked by his new summoned army. He unleashes his lizardmen, who charge into the enemy horde. His friends can only stare, shocked that he has a summoning skill. The rival team watches, realizing their plan has been completely foiled. They see the battlefield is now an overwhelming swarm of monsters. Confident that Lin Luo's team is finished, they turn to leave. But down below, the horde has grown even larger, surrounding the team. Lin Lo steps forward, declaring it's finally his turn to move. He unleashes his most terrifying art, the Black Death Outbreak. A wave of viral energy consumes the entire monster horde. Experience points flood the team's system, leaving Tang Cheng speechless. But Lin Luo isn't satisfied with just one wave of monsters. He wants to cover the entire floor in his plague. His teammates can only watch as his dark art blankets the sky. Every monster in the vicinity is instantly annihilated. Tang Chung is baffled, but Lian Yining realizes this is no ordinary poison. Lin Luo confirms her suspicions with a chilling smile. It's a disease. He explains his skill plants a virus on a target, a virus that is highly contagious. With so many hosts, the plague can now cover the entire floor. Tang Chung panics, but Lin Luo assures him he's in complete control. But it's a different story for those who aren't his allies. The rival team flees, certain their trap was a success. Their leader urges them onward, having found the path to the next floor, but they stop, confused by the sudden change in the sky. A sense of dread washes over them as they look up. A massive dark cloud spreads across the horizon, and it's heading their way. The rival team is immediately overwhelmed, coughing violently in the toxic cloud. A searing pain rips through their minds as the virus takes hold. Their leader realizes this is no ordinary attack and quickly forfeits the exam. Outside the tower, a group of high-ranking officials watches the proceedings. They speculate on how far this new generation will climb. Yang Haoren praises his new leader's foresight, but Dongfang dismisses Murong Xuehen as a temporary threat. Meanwhile, Murong Xuehen's team is swarmed by monsters. Their tank desperately throws up a holy shield, which barely holds against the relentless assault. The team struggles, feeling like they're being specifically targeted. As one teammate falters, Murong Xuehen prepares to take the lead, but another teammate suddenly turns on them, accused of betrayal. A loyal party member refuses to believe Dongfang would deceive them. The betrayer declares she'll finally beat Murong Xuehen in a contest for a man. Her teammate asks if they should push forward, but Murong Xuehen has other plans. She declares they've already qualified, and she'll take the throne from Dongfang soon enough. Meanwhile, Lin Luo's team arrives at the entrance to the 20th floor. Tang Chung is ecstatic, ready to climb dozens more floors with his overpowered friend. But Lian Yining is more analytical, realizing his skills work best on low-level monsters. Lin Luo agrees, admitting his plague is less effective in open, well-ventilated areas. His friends also realize that his wide-range attacks can hit other teams by accident. Tang Chung worries they might be making a lot of enemies. But Lin Luo just smirks, repeating the word offend with a chilling tone. He declares that in this world, you either fight or you perish. Weakness has no place here. His friends pledge their loyalty, ready to face any enemy who dares to cross him. They step through the portal and onto the 20th floor, a desert teeming with alien creatures. The monsters immediately launch a volley of rocks at the newcomers. The ground erupts as the projectiles find their mark. But it was a feint. Tang Cheng stands alone, drawing their attention. He taunts the horde, daring them to come and get him. His plan works a little too well as the entire swarm descends upon him. He scrambles back to Lin Luo, begging for backup. Lin Luo calmly looks up as one of the creatures lunges from above, but a flash of icy energy intercepts it midair. Lian Yining unleashes a wave of ice, creating a barrier for her team. She declares that as long as she's here, no one will harm Lin Luo. But Lin Luo steps forward, ready to begin his own assault. He unleashes his Black Death outbreak once again. Meanwhile, the officials note that Dongfang has broken a record. They wonder why Murong Xuehen stopped, calling it a minor setback. They believe this competition will forge the next generation of heroes, but their discussion is interrupted by an urgent report. The poisonous cloud from before is now spreading upwards. It's already reached the 24th floor, affecting thousands of students. The medical bay is in chaos, with only the top students safe above the 24th floor. The old official demands to know how many are left, learning it's less than 100. Another official suspects this isn't a monster, but a man-made disaster. The horrifying truth dawns on them. Saboteurs have infiltrated the exam. He explains that in the 300 years since the apocalypse, not everyone chose to fight for humanity. Some, in their despair, chose to surrender to the very forces that destroyed their world. This shadowy group, known as the Fallen, seeks to bring about humanity's end. The officials realize their true targets must be the S-class professionals. But they are helpless, as the tower is completely sealed off during the exam. The old man can only place his faith in the students, hoping they can overcome this new threat. On the 26th floor, the team steps into a desolate, eerie landscape. His friends celebrate their own rapid level-ups, all thanks to Lin Luo, but Lin Luo reveals he's already hit level 30, unlocking 4 new skills. The first of which is a rather unconventional form of crowd control, and the other 3 are a collection of highly contagious, unsanitary curses. With a truly unhinged grin, he decides to learn every single one. His teammates are more than a little disturbed by his sudden change in demeanor. When asked about his new powers, he wisely decides to keep them a secret. Lian Yining quickly changes the subject, reminding him about his second job transfer. He remembers the hidden job transfer book he earned and prepares to begin the quest. Lin Luo activates the hidden job transfer book and is presented with 2 unique, unheard-of paths. The first option, the Dark Lord, offers power over the undead, but the whole becoming a skeleton thing is a bit of a deal-breaker. The second option, however, is the Evil Doctor, a class that lets him perform random, dangerous surgery with 0 liability. Naturally, he finds this offer far too tempting to refuse. The system confirms his new job, the Evil Doctor, and gives him a quest to kill a silver-level boss within a month. Back in the tower, he tells his friends he must now go his own way. His friends immediately offer their help with his new mission, but Lin Luo explains he needs to kill a silver-level boss on the 30th floor. He tells them it's too dangerous for a group and he can't protect them all. Tang Cheng argues that without him, they never would have made it this far. Lin Luo simply smiles and prepares to part ways with his team. But before he can leave, Lian Yining grabs his arm, stopping him. She offers him a stand-in puppet, a rare item that can block a single fatal blow. He hesitates, knowing such a precious item is basically an extra life. She insists, telling him his safety is what matters most as a friend, of course. Flustered, Lin Luo accepts the gift and tells his friends to go on without him. Lin Luo stands alone, contemplating the weight of her gift. Meanwhile, on a higher floor, the battle rages on. Another team struggles against a pack of elite hellhounds. A mysterious swordsman proposes an alliance with Dongfang's team. Dongfang agrees, leading the newly formed group toward the next floor. The swordsman unleashes a devastating lightning attack, carving a path through the volcanic landscape. With the way clear, the group presses forward. They spot the exit portal across a massive lake of lava, but just as they approach, the ground erupts behind them. A massive, fiery beast erupts from the lava below. Its fiery breath engulfs one of the weaker party members. They recognize it as the Hellhound King, the boss of the 27th floor. The swordsman accuses Dongfang of luring it out for his dragon pet. He claims he's only helping because their families are connected. The 2 powerful professionals leap into battle, unleashing their full power against the colossal beast. Elsewhere, Lian Yining and Tang Cheng have reached a new floor, but Lian Yining is completely distracted, still thinking about Lin Luo. Tang Cheng tries to reassure her, calling her his new sister-in-law. Tang Cheng reveals he knows about the love letter she wrote to Lin Luo. Lian Yining is stunned, asking how he reacted to it. He explains Lin Luo was in a strange headspace back then, lost in dreams. Elsewhere, other students emerge from the trials, battered and exhausted. A new group appears, and observers note it's Yang Haoran's party. He spots Lian Yining and immediately approaches, asking if she's all right. But Tang Cheng steps in, fiercely protective of his sister-in-law. The unexpected title leaves Yang Haoran completely speechless. His shock seems to echo across the vast, empty trial grounds. Tang Cheng tells Lian Yining to ignore him and wait for Lin Luo. Yang Haoran explodes in rage, demanding an explanation. Tang Cheng calmly explains the connection, as Lian Yining warns him to stand down. He scoffs, calling Lin Luo trash, but her silence speaks volumes. He then turns his anger on Tang Cheng, belittling his lower rank. But Tang Cheng has clearly had enough of the insults. He asks if the man who carried them to the 26th floor is truly a weakling. He then points to the leaderboard, showing Lin Luo is still climbing. The reality is simply impossible for Yang Haoran to accept. The other students are just as confused, accusing Lin Luo of cheating. Just then, 2 officials arrive to summon Yang Haoran for questioning. Yang Haoran is brought before the high-ranking officials for questioning. He's clearly intimidated, wondering what these powerful figures could possibly want with him. An old official asks if he noticed anything unusual in the tower, like a poisonous fog. Yang Haoran denies seeing any fog, but mentions the Hellhound King's sudden awakening. The officials conclude the Black Death was not native to the tower, but brought in by a student. Just then, a messenger arrives with an update. The plague has stopped at the 26th floor. He also reports that a 3rd candidate has now reached the 27th floor. The messenger reveals the student's name is Lin Luo, a D-rank priest. The officials are in disbelief, certain that even Lian Yining couldn't carry him that far. Yang Haoran immediately cries foul, insisting that Lin Luo must be cheating. But the old official dismisses the idea, stating the tower is a divine miracle. Another official speculates that Lian Yining must have a hidden skill. They conclude that no matter the reason, Lin Luo must be investigated. Elsewhere, Lian Yining is summoned by her aunt, the woman in red. The aunt correctly guesses that the Black Death was Lin Luo's doing. She explains she deduced it since their team was unaffected by the plague. But she warns that the powerful families of the affected students will soon seek revenge. Lian Yining panics, asking her aunt for a way to protect him. Her aunt simply points at her, revealing the solution is Lian Yining herself. She then leans in, whispering a plan into her niece's ear. The aunt dismisses the idea of telling her husband, calling him a fool who would only get in their way. But Lian Yining steals her resolve, ready to do whatever it takes to protect Lin Luo. Meanwhile, back in the tower, Lin Luo finds himself surrounded by a pack of hellhounds. He notes with some embarrassment that his new crowd control skill is disturbingly effective, but his tactical assessment is cut short by a massive eruption of lava. The Hellhound King emerges, a beast that should have been dormant. The enraged creature immediately lunges toward him, but Lin Luo notices its wounds, realizing it just fled another battle and is looking for an easy target. He smirks, more than happy to take on a weakened boss. The beast roars, unleashing a blast of energy as the fight begins. He unleashes his most ridiculous skill yet, Alzheimer's disease. The beast's own magic implodes, erupting in a violent backlash. Lin Luo smirks, ready to deliver another package to the weakened boss. He stacks every debuff he has, a cocktail of pure agony. This is a special delivery, reserved exclusively for his toughest opponents. The Hellhound King roars, its body racked with unbearable pain. It stumbles forward, overwhelmed by the onslaught of curses, but its eyes burn with a new, terrifying rage. Lin Luo senses a change, wondering if it's about to go berserk. But the beast just turns and flees a surprisingly sneaky dog. Lin Luo refuses to be outsmarted by a dog. He unleashes his mental confusion art, a curse that turns the target against its own allies. The enraged boss immediately turns on its own pack. The lesser hounds can only watch in confusion. A fiery explosion consumes the entire battlefield. He stands victorious, leveling up to 31. The loot is impressive, including a silver-level dagger. He wonders if he's the first to kill it this exam. With only 2 hours left, he rushes to the 30th floor. Meanwhile, Murong Shuihen learns her former teammate has disappeared. She scoffs at the betrayal, calling the girl a fool for crossing her. With a cold command, she orders the girl's family ruined and exiled. Her assistant offers a report, but Murong Shuihen assumes the results are obvious. But she's stunned to learn a D-rank priest, Lin Luo, has also reached the 28th floor. She remembers him from Lian Yining's team and connects him to the poisonous fog. A flashback shows Dongfang noting Lian Yining's interest in the boy. Her assistant asks if Lin Luo is a threat, but Murong Shuihen dismisses the virus as limited. Still, she's intrigued by the idea of a D-rank priest with more tricks up his sleeve. Elsewhere, other students can't believe the news, accusing Lin Luo of cheating. Tang Cheng tells his sister-in-law to ignore them, as they can't accept the truth. Her aunt speculates that at this rate, Lin Luo could become a national champion. She explains the Imperial College's record is 29 floors, far beyond their city's best. The record was set by a necromancer whose family was tragically wiped out years ago. But the aunt dismisses the past, focusing on the grand prize Lin Luo could win, a reward known as a world wonder, which is news to his friends. Just then, instructor Li Yu arrives, congratulating them on their impressive climb. But she also brings a warning. Powerful people are now watching their every move. Tang Cheng casually explains Lin Luo's plan. Just blame him for everything. And somewhere inside that tower, the man himself is still fighting. On the 28th floor, a new challenger faces a deadly ecosystem. It's Dongfang, battered and breathing heavily after a brutal fight. He curses the difficulty of this floor, his dragon nearly lost in the battle. But he refuses to give up, driven by his family's honor and a vow to be number one. Just as he steals his resolve, a harpy spots him from above. It dives in for the kill but is suddenly ordered to stop. He looks up, confused, as the creature simply lands before him. He's certain he's the only one here, so what's going on? He turns, searching for an answer to this impossible situation, and sees the harpies are now fighting the willow tree in a very friendly way. The harpies are caught in a strange, binding embrace. They struggle, completely entangled by the willow's tendrils. Dongfang realizes this isn't a fight, but some kind of bizarre nature documentary. His eyes widen as a sudden thought strikes him. He spots another candidate and wonders if this newcomer is responsible. Lin Luo marvels at the sheer power of his unconventional new skill, but he knows he can't waste time and must press on to the next floor. Dongfang concludes this must be a hidden class, and he can't let him pass. He turns to his dragon, promising to make this new rival pay. With a surge of power, he declares that he will be the one to win. On the 29th floor, a new challenge awaits. A frozen wasteland. Lin Luo descends into the heart of the icy expanse. He shivers, realizing the temperature is lethally low. With time running out, he learns a new skill, hoping for a useful mutation. And the system delivers a penicillin phage antibody shield. Because of course it does. His body immediately begins generating antibodies, granting him total immunity to the cold. With his newfound resistance, he sprints across the ice, his eyes on the prize. But he's not the only one to reach this floor. Dongfang struggles, forced to use a flame stone just to survive. He pushes his dragon to its limits, refusing to be left behind. He orders his dragon to kill his rival, declaring there can only be one winner. The massive beast lunges forward with a furious roar. Lin Luo leaps away just in time, dodging the surprise attack. He looks back, completely baffled by the sudden hostility. He wonders where a dragon came from on a floor of ice toads. Then he remembers this must be the pet of the famous Dongfang. Unsure why he's being targeted, he summons his own backup. He unleashes his lizardmen warriors, ordering them to attack. The summoned creatures are no match for the powerful dragon. But Lin Luo only needs them to buy him a little time as he prepares a new curse. The dragon roars, shaking off the attack from the lizardmen. Lin Luo notes its high defense, realizing Dongfang must be hiding nearby. He decides to use the pet to track down its master. He unleashes his mental confusion art on the massive beast. The dragon turns and charges, but not at Lin Luo. It crashes right into Dongfang's hiding spot, forcing him into the open. Dongfang desperately tries to snap his pet out of its daze. Now exposed, he orders his dragon to attack Lin Luo directly. Lin Luo notes the dragon's high resistance, but has a new target in mind. He unleashes a new curse, aimed directly at Dongfang himself. Dongfang is stunned to find Lin Luo right behind him. He lunges forward, believing a close-range fight is a fatal mistake for his opponent. His attack shatters the frozen landscape around them. He declares that there can only be one champion, and it will be him. With a final surge of power, he unleashes his yellow flash strike. The golden energy completely engulfs his target in a massive explosion. He stands over the crater, confident that his Dragon Knight class is unbeatable. But a calm voice from behind asks what happened to his dragon. He looks down to see his massive pet lying defeated on the ice below. His confidence shatters as he turns back to Lin Luo, demanding to know what he's done. Lin Luo calmly asks why Dongfang can't just be quiet. He wonders if the boy could still scream without a tongue. Dongfang seethes, vowing revenge for this humiliating defeat. But Lin Luo just scoffs, having left a little parting gift for the dragon. He turns away, his mind already on his next objective. A brilliant beam of light erupts from the trial tower. An observer notes that another candidate has been eliminated. The crowd debates who it could be, certain the D-ranker has fallen. The victims of his plague rally, ready to get their revenge on Lin Luo. But it's Dongfang who emerges, battered and defeated, his dragon at his feet. He glares at the crowd, daring them to make a move. But they can only stare in shock, wondering why he's been eliminated. One of them points out that his dragon looks a little unwell. Dongfang turns to see his pet struggling to keep its composure. And then, it unleashes a truly spectacular biological event. The crowd is engulfed in the aftermath, a smell so intense it could kill. Dongfang realizes this was Lin Luo's parting gift and vows revenge. Meanwhile, at the secluded Dongfang family home, an elder is told that Dongfang's victory is all but guaranteed. But the patriarch reveals there's another candidate on the 28th floor, a D-rank priest. The patriarch dismisses the news, certain the priest used some cheap trick. He turns on his son, reminding him of his lower rank and the family's hopes for Dongfang. The man can only listen, the weight of his father's words pressing down on him. But a sudden notification shatters their conversation with impossible news. Dongfang has been eliminated, and his dragon suffered a very public, very smelly defeat. Meanwhile, on the 30th floor, Lin Luo analyzes his next target, the ice-poisoned toad. He unleashes a new art from the safety of an icy ridge. The creature convulses as the dark magic takes hold. But another, more menacing figure suddenly appears before him. As the toad swells, preparing to self-destruct, Lin Luo finds himself in a tight spot. But Lin Luo refuses to let the creature self-destruct. He casts Alzheimer's, making the toad forget its own final attack. The creature simply dissolves, granting him a nice chunk of experience. Relieved, he turns his attention to the loot it left behind. He finds an ice poison bead, a rare item that can boost his stats indefinitely. But he's suspicious, wondering why such a treasure would be left untouched. Then he remembers the toad's explosive final move. He realizes only someone with his unique skills could stop the explosion and claim the prize. Convinced he's found an untapped gold mine, he decides to test his theory. And so begins a series of very controlled, non-explosive exterminations. Another toad calls out from the icy canyon below. It unleashes a volley of razor-sharp ice shards. Lin Luo ducks just in time as the attack sails over his head. His theory is proven correct once again. No explosion, no loot. With a confident smirk, he prepares to hunt his next target. He spots an entire den of them and decides to clear it out quickly. He summons his lizardmen, ready for a full-scale assault. The toads immediately begin to swell, preparing their final attack. But Lin Luo raises his staff, refusing to let them have the last laugh. His curse takes hold, and the creatures deflate in utter confusion. The canyon echoes with the sounds of his assault. And just as he'd hoped, the noise has attracted a crowd. He reveals the air is now thick with the virus from his previous kills. With a single command, he unleashes the Black Death outbreak. He's flooded with experience, leveling up to 36 in an instant. The harvest was generous, leaving him with hundreds of ice poison beads. He absorbs them all, feeling his spirit energy skyrocket. The power surge is incredible, doubling his reserves in mere moments. And as a bonus, his demonized rune has also leveled up. It now grants a stat boost, a transformation ability, and faster mana regeneration. He realizes the rune can now transform him into a monster. But his celebration is cut short by a massive shadow. He looks up in alarm as the level 45 Ice Poison Toad King emerges. But Lin Luo just smirks, eager to test his new powers. He activates his new skill, transforming into a small creature. The massive boss can only stare, completely baffled by the tiny lizard. He's amazed that his new form can fool even a powerful boss. He knows the virus in the air will eventually kill it. But he doesn't have time to wait, preparing a new combo. He drops his disguise and unleashes a new, rather personal attack. The massive Toad King cries out in agony, stumbling as the curse begins to take hold. Lin Luo follows up with another of his signature biological warfare spells. The boss is immediately overcome by a rather explosive digestive issue. He prepares to finish it off with his new, highly specialized combo. But the Toad King retaliates with a furious glare, unleashing a massive beam of freezing light. The attack slams into the ground, creating a wall of ice before him. Lin Luo realizes his own attack was blocked, and a direct hit would have been the end of him. The Toad King unleashes another powerful glare, but Lin Luo is ready, casting his Alzheimer's curse once more. The beast is confused as another dark art takes hold. Its own skin erupts in a violent, painful backlash. Lin Luo reveals he targeted its eyes, disabling the deadly glare for good. And now, with the boss blinded, he prepares to unleash his full power. He summons his lizardmen, sending them charging down the canyon walls. The massive Toad King can only roar in helpless fury. It tries to self-destruct, but Lin Luo makes it forget that plan too. The massive boss dissolves, showering him with experience and loot. He's stunned by the sheer number of items that dropped. He decides to learn the Frozen Light skill book first. And of course, it mutates into something far more sinister. He recognizes the name of an incurable degenerative disease because why not? Next, he examines the Ice King's bead, a rare super ability. He consumes it without hesitation, feeling a new power awaken. The new ability, Adrenaline Rush, boosts his physical stats. He realizes this new power makes him a threat even in close combat. Meanwhile, in a dark throne room, a doctor approaches a seated figure. The doctor can't help but laugh at Dongfang's public humiliation. But Dongfang himself is far from amused, vowing to kill Lin Luo tomorrow. Suddenly, the crowd's attention is drawn back to the tower's leaderboard. Lin Luo has reached the 30th floor, leaving everyone to wonder how he did it. Tang Cheng and Lian Yining are overjoyed, celebrating their friend's new record. The officials agree, realizing the true prodigy isn't a dragon knight but a priest. Elsewhere, Marong Xuehen acknowledges that Lin Luo is now #1 in the country. She decides she must recruit him into her family no matter the cost. Meanwhile, on the 30th floor, a new ecosystem of monsters awaits, and Lin Luo steps into the darkness, ready for his final challenge. He admits he spent too much time on the ice toads, and had to use his mental arts to start a monster civil war just to get past the 29th floor. But now, with time running out, he spots the perfect tools to find the boss. He analyzes the massive level 45 bats hanging from the cavern ceiling. He decides to wake them up with a rather unpleasant curse. The spell works as intended, taking out one bat and waking the rest. The entire colony awakens, their eyes glowing with a furious green light. A massive swarm of demonic creatures descends upon him, but Lin Luo stands his ground, activating his new demonization skill. He transforms into a small bat, leaving the entire horde utterly confused. In his new form, Lin Luo searches for the humanoid boss. He soon discovers a massive, eerie cemetery. It's guarded by level 45 blood slaves, and 2 level 48 elite guards stand watch over a coffin. With no time to waste, he casts Mental Confusion. The 2 elite guards immediately turn on each other. They tear into one another with mindless fury. Lin Luo leaps back, letting them clear a path for him. He finds the level 50 silver boss, the Fallen Baron, still asleep. He decides to give him a rather rude awakening. The dark energy slams into the coffin with a devastating impact. Lin Luo is stunned, wondering if he actually managed an instant kill. But he knows better. A silver-level boss wouldn't go down that easily. A sudden movement from the wreckage catches his eye. The dark, scattered remains begin to stir and coalesce. The Fallen Baron rises once more, his body reforming from the shadows. Lin Luo realizes the creature can regenerate, making this fight much harder. The Baron unleashes a sonic blast, sending our boy flying backward. He's thrown directly over the waiting horde of blood slaves, and he realizes he's just been served up on a silver platter. The blood slaves swarm him, and he knows he needs a new plan. He grits his teeth, deciding to use his newest ability. He activates Adrenaline Rush, his body surging with power. With a burst of speed, he kicks his way out of the horde. He's so fast he can barely control himself, a blur of motion. The Fallen Baron roars, unleashing its own shadowy arts. It creates 2 Blood Shadow clones to hunt him down. But with his new speed, their attacks are far too slow. He easily dodges their grasp as they erupt in a burst of energy. The Baron just watches with a wicked grin, enjoying the hunt. Lin Luo stands firm, declaring it's his turn to attack. He launches himself forward with a burst of speed, unleashing a spinning projectile of pure energy that slams directly into the Fallen Baron. The boss stumbles, reeling from the unexpected blow. Lin Luo's curse takes hold, a violent skin explosion. The Baron's body is torn apart by the dark art, but the scattered remains immediately begin to merge back together. Lin Luo realizes the boss is practically invincible as long as there's blood. The 2 blood clones reform and charge forward once more. He realizes the clones are made of blood and decides to test his newest skill. A volley of glowing blue crosses rains down upon the blood shadows. The curse takes hold, causing their liquid forms to solidify and crumble. Lin Luo is impressed, wondering if vampires are somehow weak to ALS. He clarifies that it's the blood clotting symptom that's so effective. The Fallen Baron roars in fury and charges forward. But Lin Luo just unleashes another wave of his curse, this time at the boss. The Baron tries to evade the incoming projectiles. It's forced to sever its own arm to stop the curse from spreading. Lin Luo just smirks, wondering how many limbs the boss is willing to lose. The Fallen Baron is trapped, frozen solid by Lin Luo's debilitating curse. It can only watch in agony as its body begins to fail. Lin Luo knows that simply killing it will allow it to regenerate, but he wonders if it can revive after its blood has been boiled away. He unleashes his signature combo, Blood Fever and Pain Amplification. The boss is completely annihilated in a final, devastating explosion. He's showered in loot, leveling up to 40 and completing his quest. Catching his breath, he notes the intense side effects of his adrenaline skill. He's also earned a gold skill point, a rare item used to break a skill's limits. He decides to upgrade his antibody shield because surviving is always the best strategy. He uses the gold skill point to upgrade his antibody shield, which unexpectedly summons a small, purring creature. The system reveals it's a penicillin elf, a companion that can copy his mutated skills. He realizes he has a powerful new assistant, naming it Little Green with a stroke of genius. Next, he examines the vampire's core and essence he looted from the boss. The core can complete his quest, but the essence is an even rarer prize. It's a bloodline prop that can transform him into a half-vampire, but he decides against it for now, aware of the vampire's weaknesses. He turns his attention to the rest of his haul, a skill book, wings, and a ring. He notes the new equipment will grant him a massive boost in power. He examines the final skill book, a powerful vampire art he can't learn. He decides to put it away, but his hand slips, accidentally activating the scroll. And just as expected, the skill mutates into something far more terrifying. The T-virus. A chilling realization dawns on him. His power can bypass any professional limitation. He recognizes the name from his past life, a virus that turns its victims into zombies. In a world filled with superhumans and monsters, the potential for disaster is unimaginable. He also realizes the skill only grants infection, not control over the resulting horde. Deciding the world isn't ready for a zombie apocalypse, he shelves the skill for now. With only 5 minutes left, he presents the vampire's core to complete his mission. His body dissolves into light as the trial tower exam finally comes to an end. The system confirms his mission is complete. He has officially become the evil doctor. Outside, the crowd wonders if he's trapped inside. The reporter hypes up his victory with only minutes to spare. His friends listen as the media invents a tragic backstory for him. Powerful families now scramble to recruit the new prodigy. Meanwhile, the deputy city guard receives a private report. His subordinate reveals that 7 families are already plotting against Lin Luo. But the old man dismisses them as minor threats, a test for the boy's journey, until he learns that the fallen have also taken an interest in him. The old official knows that unlike the other prodigies, Lin Luo has no powerful family to protect him. He orders 2 of his elite guardians to watch over the boy. Just then, a pillar of light erupts from the ground, and from it emerges the first-place winner, Lin Luo. But his victory is immediately met with a furious mob. The victims of his plague demand retribution for their ruined exams. A young woman leads the charge, rushing toward him, but instead of attacking, she stumbles right into him and plants a very unexpected kiss right on his lips, leaving everyone, including Lin Luo, completely stunned. The crowd recognizes the girl as Lian Yining, and their anger quickly turns to fear. She pulls away, her face flushed with emotion. As they stare at each other, both are at a loss for words. She quickly makes an excuse and runs off, leaving Lin Luo completely bewildered. She disappears into the night without another word. Later, as Lin Luo and Tang Cheng walk home, Tang Cheng can't resist teasing him about his sudden public romance. But Lin Luo suddenly stops, sensing they're being watched. A figure appears above them, impressed by the boy's sharp senses. He claims to be a messenger from the Lian family, with a very clear warning. But Lin Luo isn't intimidated, asking what happens if he refuses. Elsewhere, the 2 guardians watch from the shadows. Suddenly, one of them senses a familiar, chilling presence. A massive sphere of dark energy engulfs the alleyway, trapping Lin Luo and the others inside a pocket dimension. The guardians are thrown back, realizing the fallen have arrived. They recognize the attack as the work of the Lord of the Dark Mist, and they know they've failed their mission to protect the boy. They prepare to break the barrier, hoping the man inside can hold out. Inside, Lin Luo and his companions find themselves in a strange, empty space. The Lian family messenger recognizes this as the Dark Mist space, a power Tang Cheng knows belongs to an epic-level member of the Fallen. The messenger scoffs at his fear, preparing to lead them to a weak point. But as they try to escape, a shadowy figure blocks their path. A woman appears, revealing she's used a special item to seal their exit. The messenger erupts in a fiery aura, enraged by their ambush. The woman is unimpressed, ordering one of her minions to deal with him. The hooded figure lunges forward with a monstrous clawed hand. It transforms into a massive beast, ready to tear him apart. But a sudden blast of crystalline energy erupts from the side. The woman in purple offers Lin Luo a spot in her organization, the Night Watch. Tang Cheng immediately warns her to stay back, ready for a fight. But Lin Luo is confused, asking if this is just another name for the Fallen. She scoffs, explaining that Fallen is just a slanderous name they've been given. She moves closer, her hand reaching for him, and declares that they are the world's true saviors. She explains they embrace an evil god to find a new future for humanity. He asks why they're targeting him, and she reveals a poison master wants him as a disciple. Tang Chung panics, but Lin Luo assures him he's not joining any evil cults today. Her friendly offer turns to a threat as she summons a shadowy minion to capture him. The hooded figure cackles, promising to break Lin Luo's will. He summons spectral hands from the ground to restrain him, but the caster suddenly falters, confused by his own spell. His magic implodes, sending him flying backward in agony. Lin Luo calmly reveals the source of the backlash, his Alzheimer's curse. The woman in purple watches as her minion's spell completely dissolves. The hooded man can only scream, his mind torn apart by the backlash. She glares at her subordinate, furious at his incompetence. It seems if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. She unleashes a swarm of monstrous carnivorous plants. Tang Chung screams for his friend to run from the incoming attack. But Lin Luo has a different plan, unleashing his mental confusion art. The woman in purple is completely baffled by the sudden turn of events. She scoffs at the idea of a priest daring to fight her directly. A dark energy suddenly wraps around the Lian family messenger, who screams in agony as the spell consumes him. The woman laughs maniacally, believing she's already won, but her expression shifts to confusion as she looks at her own eyes. Her other minion is suddenly attacked by his own summoned beast. She finally realizes Lin Luo has turned her own allies against each other. She questions his true identity, certain he's no mere D-rank priest. She realizes he used misdirection, a feint to hide his true attack. Enraged by the loss of her guards, she vows to end him herself. She unleashes a massive wave of dark, thorny wood that rushes toward Lin Luo and Tang Chung. The ground shatters under the force of her overwhelming assault. Tang Chung panics, but Lin Luo calmly predicts she'll be the first to fall. The woman taunts him, demanding he stop dodging and fight back. She dares him to show her the arrogance he displayed just moments before, but her taunts are cut short by a sudden dawning confusion. She looks down in horror, realizing she's been infected with a virus. The source of the infection is his tiny, adorable, plague-spreading companion. Her consciousness begins to fade as the plague takes hold. She dissolves into nothingness, completely defeated by the unseen attack. Tang Chung can only stare in shock as Lin Luo calmly explains her demise. His attention then turns to the other battle still raging nearby. He admits he doesn't like the messenger, but decides the fallen are the more immediate threat. The messenger's fiery attack slams into the beast-like minion. The two combatants roar at each other, enraged by the interruption. The beast-like minion struggles to block the messenger's fiery assault. The messenger roars, refusing to be denied his victory. But the creature suddenly clutches its stomach, its posture weakening. It's overcome by a sudden, violent internal distress. A dawning, horrifying realization washes over the beast. It turns and flees, desperately searching for a bathroom. Yes, really. The messenger refuses to let it escape, preparing another attack. He unleashes a final devastating blast after the fleeing creature. Lin Luo calmly explains he's dealt with the problem and is ready to help. Tang Chung can only stare, wondering how the battle ended so quickly. The messenger realizes the strongest of the fallen was just defeated by a student. He lands before Lin Luo, his suspicion growing. He demands to know what Lin Luo's true profession is. Lin Luo casually replies he's nothing special, just a priest. Unconvinced, the messenger unleashes a powerful blast of his own. Outside, the two guardians continue their assault on the barrier. They catch their breath, urging each other to press on. Suddenly, one of them realizes the dark mist space is fading. They assume Lin Luo has been killed and vow to avenge him. But as the mist clears, they find Lin Luo standing victorious over the fallen. The two guardians can only stare in disbelief. They recognize the fallen as infamous members of the cult, all of them now defeated. Lin Luo simply looks back, asking who they are. They introduce themselves as his protectors, asking what happened inside the mist. But the Lian family messenger just scoffs and takes his leave. As Lin Luo walks away, the guardians try to get some answers. Tang Chung quickly spins a tale about the Lian family's protection. The guardians are silent, clearly not buying a word of it. Lin Luo just offers a knowing, almost mischievous smile. They let them go with a warning, telling them to stay safe. One guardian asks why they didn't press Lin Luo for the truth. The other explains their job is to protect him, not force answers. He reveals the woman they faced was a high-ranking member of the Fallen, and this incident is now far beyond what they can handle alone. As they walk home, Tang Chung is still buzzing with excitement. Lin Luo explains that the Guardians are an official force of the Dragon Kingdom. Their purpose is not just to protect, but also to restrict other professionals. He describes the constant tension between the guilds and the authorities. Tang Chung worries that a powerful poison master is now targeting his friend. But Lin Luo assures him that within the city they are perfectly safe. Tang Sheng worries for their friends, but Lin Luo knows the great families can protect their own. Just then, a message arrives from a concerned Lian Yining. She asks if he's safe, and he calmly replies that he's completely fine. Elsewhere, the deputy city guard receives a grim report on the night's events. 35 professionals were attacked, with casualties on both sides. The old official listens, the loss of 7 new talents weighing heavily on him. He knows these weren't random attacks. The Fallen targeted the best of the best. But then, one of the Guardians reports that Lin Luo survived his own ambush. The old man processes this, a thoughtful look on his face. He praises the Guardian for protecting the boy and eliminating the threat, but the Guardian clarifies they weren't the ones responsible for the kill. The news sends a shockwave through the room. The old official demands to know exactly what happened. The Guardian explains Lin Luo was with 2 much weaker companions. The autopsy on one Fallen revealed he died from an axe and a severe case of indigestion. The old man connects this new information to the Black Death incident. The other 2 Fallen members also met strange ends, one from the plague itself. The Guardian is convinced Lin Luo is no ordinary priest, but a dark priest. But the officials are hesitant to jump to such a conclusion. He warns that the slain woman has a powerful and very vengeful relative. But the old official just scoffs at the threat of a mere poison elder. Meanwhile, Lian Yining defends her choice to her very unhappy father. He reveals she's already engaged to the master of Serpent Island, but she furiously declares she won't marry anyone but Lin Luo. Her aunt steps in, reminding her brother of a past mistake he made. The argument ends, leaving the man to stew in his own defeat. The next day, the students gather for the next stage of the exam. An announcement declares the start of the individual challenge. The rules are simple. One-on-one matches to find the top 16. Lin Luo walks forward, ready for the final round tomorrow. Lian Yining teases Tang Cheng about the upcoming matches. He boasts that thanks to Lin Luo, even Dongfang is no match for them. She's thrilled that Lin Luo doesn't seem to mind the new nickname. But their conversation is interrupted by another top-ranking professional. She introduces herself as Murong Xuehen, shaking his hand. She gets straight to the point, offering him a spot on a dungeon raid. It's a rare opportunity, a low-level dungeon with a high-level reward. She even has a whole romantic subplot planned out for them. But Lin Luo immediately shuts down her well-laid plans. Murong Xuehen is left completely stunned by the rejection. She explains the power progression, a ladder of realms from iron to epic. She realizes Lin Luo's job transfer puts him in a league of his own. Just then, Dongfang storms over, furious about his dragon's public incident. Murong Xuehen denies any engagement, but he's convinced he's the only one worthy. He turns back to Lin Luo, vowing to make him beg for mercy. But Lin Luo just calls him a pest and offers to take out the trash. The tournament brackets are posted, and the individual matches begin. Dongfang glares from the crowd, promising a fate worse than death. Murong Xuehen offers to get help, but Lin Luo assures her he can handle it. He remembers the unprovoked attack and promises to completely destroy his rival. The first match begins, pitting Lin Luo against a B-rank heavy hammer warrior. His opponent, Zhang Qi, glares at him, blaming Lin Luo for his early exit from the tower. He swings his massive hammer, confident he can crush the fragile priest before any poison takes hold. But his charge is cut short by a sudden, unsettling gurgle from his stomach. Lin Luo just smirks, taunting him as a new, highly unsanitary curse takes effect. The warrior can't hold it back, unleashing a massive toxic cloud upon the arena. The crowd is immediately overwhelmed by the horrifying stench. They realize with dawning horror that this is even worse than Dongfang's dragon. The referee declares Lin Luo the winner and desperately calls for a cleanup crew. With one victory secured, Lin Luo immediately faces his next B-rank challenger. His next opponent comes prepared, activating a status resistance scroll. He follows it up with a cocktail of various antidotes. He declares he's ready for anything, a task set for him by Dongfang. Lin Luo calmly deduces he's just a pawn in someone else's game. He accepts the challenge, unleashing a far more potent version of his curse. The challenger's confidence immediately begins to crumble, and he's overcome by the same fate as the last poor soul. The cleanup crew returns, thankful their new gas masks are working. They begin the arduous process of sanitizing the arena floor. It seems this is becoming a full-blown biohazard situation. The crowd is in an uproar, demanding his unsanitary skill be banned. Their protests grow louder, calling his tactics a form of pollution. The deputy city guardian is informed of the public outrage. He considers their request for a moment and surprisingly agrees. But he knows Lin Luo's true power is far more than a simple curse. He's eager to see what other abilities our boy has been hiding. The announcer makes it official, and Lin Luo's rivals celebrate his loss. But he just smirks, If they don't like his gentle methods, he'll get ruthless. The next match is announced Lin Luo versus his rival Yang Haoran. Dongfang gives Yang Haoran a mission: force Lin Luo to reveal his true power. Dongfang reminds him that accidents happen in the ring, a promise of a bright future for his cooperation. But his subordinate questions the plan's lethality, as Dongfang reveals Yang Haoran is just a pawn, a disposable tool to force Lin Luo's hand. In the arena, Yang Haoran taunts his rival, his sword ablaze, declaring that without his curses, Lin Luo is nothing. He sneers, questioning what a mere priest can do against an A-ranker. He unleashes a massive wave of fire, which is immediately met by a wall of ice. Lin Luo stands unfazed, questioning if that's all he has. Yang Haoran unleashes a flurry of elemental attacks, combining fire and ice. The crowd marvels at the power of a true magic swordsman. The crowd assumes a priest has no defense against such power. But Lin Luo stands completely unfazed by the inferno. He declares it's his turn, leaving Yang Haoran stunned. He reaches out, unleashing a curse of his own. At first, nothing happens, and Yang Haoran thinks his defense is held. But then, an unbearable itch begins to consume him. Lin Luo calmly explains it was just a minor skill. He reveals he has a whole arsenal of highly contagious curses. Yang Haoran screams, tearing at his own skin in agony. The crowd can only watch in horror at the gruesome display. But Yang Haoran fights back, using his own ice magic to numb the pain. Lin Luo notes his opponent's desperate gambit and its fatal flaw. Enraged, Yang Haoran vows to end this before his own magic consumes him. But in the end, it was never going to be enough. Lin Luo explains that freezing only dulls the curse. It doesn't stop it. He then adds another layer of agony, amplifying the pain tenfold. Yang Haoran collapses, and the referee declares Lin Luo the winner. Later, a doctor examines the fallen A-ranker with a sigh. Yang Haoran can only ask if there's any hope for his future. The doctor delivers the grim news: a drastic, life-altering procedure is the only option. The words echo in Yang Haoran's mind, a desperate plea. He agrees to the only solution: a grim and permanent procedure. Elsewhere, Dongfang makes a call to check on his pawn. He asks how Yang Haoran is doing after the match. He's stunned to learn the curse was incurable, forcing a drastic surgery. He hangs up, realizing he must be far more careful with Lin Luo. The news spreads like wildfire, a terrifying warning to never provoke the priest. Meanwhile, in another arena, two powerful women face off. Murong Xuehen smirks, asking her opponent for any last words. Her rival seethes, vowing to defeat her and clear the path for another. Murong Xuehen just laughs at the challenge. She questions if her opponent is overconfident or just foolish. With angelic wings, she vows to show her the true gap between them. The fire mage unleashes a volley of exploding flame balls. The fiery projectiles race across the arena floor. But Murong Xuehen catches one with ease, calling the attack insignificant. She counters with her own devastating art, the holy light of judgment. A massive wave of divine energy engulfs her opponent completely. The fire mage is left defeated, revealing Murong's hidden S-class profession, Angel. The crowd realizes it wasn't a fight, but a one-sided slaughter. But the defeated fire mage, Li Mei, declares she will never yield. Murong Xuehen just scoffs, unleashing a new skill, Holy Light Compulsion. The fire mage's will is instantly broken, her eyes glowing with a golden light. She kneels before Murong Xuehen, now a loyal servant asking for orders. Murong Xuehen immediately puts her to work, demanding a full report on Dongfang. With her new spy under control for the next 72 hours, she'll have all the intel she needs. And with that, the first round of the individual competition officially comes to a close. The top 4 rising stars have been decided, and they must now defend their positions. Murong Xuehen takes her place in the arena, ready for her next opponent. The other top contenders also prepare for the next round of battles. Elsewhere in the tournament, other battles rage on, but Lin Luo stands alone, wondering why no one dares to challenge him. The crowd answers, calling his methods cruel and demanding his skills be banned. He just muses on Yang Haoran's fate, a dark thought crossing his mind. But just then, a new challenger steps barefoot into the ring. He is Fang Yuan, an A-class forbidden spell mage. Lin Luo smirks, questioning his courage, but the mage is confident in his defenses. He activates a powerful barrier, declaring himself invincible within its range. He then unleashes a massive containment spell of his own. The attack engulfs Lin Luo, trapping him within a prison of pure energy. Lin Luo feels the pressure of the control skill and taunts his opponent's cowardice. But Fang Yuan is already weaving another complex spell. He declares that a forbidden spell mage has nothing to fear. He unleashes a massive thunderstrike upon the energy prison. The crowd watches in awe, certain Lin Luo is finished. Fang Yuan grows impatient, demanding his opponent make a move. But Lin Luo simply activates his antibody shield, nullifying the attack. As the mage prepares another spell, Lin Luo unleashes his own secret weapon. The forbidden spell mage suddenly falters, his mind completely blank. And Little Green follows up with another of its master's signature curses. The crowd can only watch as the mage's own power erupts around him. Lin Luo calmly asks why he fell before the fight even started. He walks toward the fallen mage, who can barely move. He dares him to get up and show him what else he can do. But Fang Yuan refuses to give up, even if his next move comes at a great cost. The other students realize he's being pushed to the brink, just like Yang Haoran was. They wonder if he's willing to risk it all for a simple match. But in the end, he chooses self-preservation and admits defeat. After that display, no one else dared to challenge Lin Luo. And so the final four are decided, with the other top contenders securing their own spots. The old official wonders just how many tricks Lin Luo has left. He chuckles, imagining the chaos if a priest wins the grand prize. Elsewhere, a new agent of the Fallen vows revenge for his fallen niece. Meanwhile, Dongfang berates Fang Yuan for his humiliating defeat. He realizes Lin Luo is far stronger than he looks and must be treated like a boss. Later, Lin Luo and his friends walk home after the day's events. The fire mage, Li Mei, laments her loss to Murong Xuehen. Lin Luo asks why she chose such a tough opponent, and she simply scoffs. She explains she was angry that Murong tried to recruit him away from them. She finally introduces herself, the classmate who lost to the S-rank angel. Li Mei parts ways with the group, heading off on her own. As the light turns green, Lin Luo and Tang Qing cross the street. Tang Qing is already planning the celebration for when Lin Luo wins the grand prize. But their conversation is cut short by a familiar voice. It's instructor Li Yu, who says she has something to discuss with him. She explains that as the top student, he's been chosen to give a presentation to the underclassmen. Lin Luo is immediately suspicious, sensing there's more to this than she's letting on. He tries to refuse, but she's surprisingly persistent, even offering to write it for him. She sweetens the deal with an offer of a free meal, but something is definitely wrong here. Suddenly, a group of cloaked figures appears from the shadows, surrounding them completely. Instructor Li Yu immediately recognizes the threat, identifying them as the Fallen. She quickly summons a defensive water barrier to shield them, but Lin Luo grabs her wrist, pulling her away from the fight. He urges her to run, trying to lead her to safety, but she yanks her hand away, telling him to let her go. Lin Luo realizes something is terribly wrong, questioning what they did to her. Suddenly, the instructor's body dissolves into a puddle of water. A cloaked figure emerges from the puddle, mocking his concern. He reveals it was just a clone, whose body and soul have now been destroyed. Lin Luo's expression hardens, his eyes burning with a cold, silent rage. The cloaked man taunts him, promising to send him to meet his instructor. But he's suddenly taken aback by an incredible burst of speed. A new figure appears, vowing to protect the boys and end this threat. The cloaked man just laughs, mocking the newcomer's power level. He unleashes a massive wave of water, declaring it's not nearly enough. The torrent of water rushes toward them with incredible force, but the newcomer stands his ground, blocking the attack completely. Just then, another group of professionals arrives on the scene. Their leader calls out the villain by name, questioning his presence here. The man reveals his niece was killed and he's here to settle the score. The leader of the new arrivals calmly lights a cigarette. He's identified as Du Cheng, a wanted criminal who mocks the villain's arrogance. But the uncle is unfazed, boasting that he's killed guardians before. The first guardian turns to Lin Luo, asking for a tactical breakdown of his signature move. Du Cheng takes command, telling his new ally to follow his lead. The guardian agrees, ready to unleash his full potential with a proper team. With the plan set, the professionals leap into battle against the cloaked figures. Du Cheng unleashes a powerful attack, striking one of the minions head-on. But the minion suddenly clutches its stomach, overcome by a familiar, horrifying pain. The villain turns in a rage, realizing it's the work of that kid's infamous skill. The villain realizes Lin Luo's casting range is far greater than he expected. But Du Cheng is already on the move, a blur of motion. He praises Lin Luo's support, urging him to keep up the pressure. But the minions of the Fallen are far from defeated. One of them transforms into a massive golem, vowing to end them. Lin Luo quickly realizes his usual biological warfare won't work on a creature with no digestive system. How inconvenient. The other minions reveal their own elemental forms. He understands now. This team was handpicked to counter his skills. His allies find themselves completely outmatched by the elementals, and the uncle prepares his own assault, his eyes fixed on Lin Luo. The uncle declares he's made every preparation to deal with Lin Luo. One of his minions transforms into a monstrous night hound. It lunges forward, roaring that Lin Luo's tricks are useless now. Lin Luo and Tang Cheng can only watch, stunned by the sudden assault. The golem smashes the ground, forcing the guardians back. Tang Cheng is thrown aside, realizing he's no match for this level of power. The water elemental rushes forward, its sights set on Lin Luo. Lin Luo grits his teeth, knowing he has no time to dodge. The watery fist slams into the wall behind him with devastating force. But he's safe, encased in a block of ice, catching his breath. He notes that while his shield held, the shock still rattled him. The bandaged elemental taunts him, certain its countermeasures are perfect, but Lin Luo just scoffs at the idea of his tricks being useless. He reveals his new class, the Evil Doctor, and declares they've seen nothing yet. The elemental mocks his tiny weapon, a simple scalpel. Lin Luo just grins, offering to perform a little test surgery. His new skill triggers, inflicting a random disability as the elemental's hand vanishes. The Night Hound watches in shock, unable to comprehend what just happened. But Lin Luo is already preparing his next move. He sprouts his new wings and unleashes another curse, causing a random deformity on the horrified elemental. He declares the surgery a success, welcoming the elemental as his very first patient. He then asks if the creature is satisfied with the results of his work. The Night Hound rushes to its ally's side, who explains its mouth has been relocated. The beast can only stare at the helpless, bandaged mass on the ground. The elemental explains that killing Lin Luo is the only way to reverse the curse. The Night Hound finds it a bit awkward to be having a conversation with its friend's backside. It turns to Lin Luo, convinced it can win as long as it avoids the scalpel. But Lin Luo just points, declaring that the little beast is next on his list. The Night Hound scoffs, unleashing its own dark power. It summons a massive swarm of demonic crows, catching the Guardians by surprise. The Guardian shouts a warning, identifying Du Cheng as a wanted criminal. The villain introduces himself as a breeder of dark beasts, certain of his victory. But Lin Luo scoffs at the very idea of escape. He asks if the man enjoys raising monsters, because he's about to offer a little help of his own. The dark beasts suddenly turn on each other in a mindless frenzy. The villain can only watch in disbelief as his own army implodes. The crows and hounds tear into one another with mindless fury. The golem elemental is completely baffled by the sudden turn of events, as is the water elemental wondering what's happened to the dark beasts. The guardian can only stare as the fire elemental looms over him. Tang Cheng, however, is absolutely thrilled by the chaos, wanting to learn the skill himself. The Night Hound roars in frustration, ordering its beast to stop fighting and attack. But it realizes with horror that even it is being affected by the overwhelming urge to brawl. Elsewhere, Du Cheng takes advantage of the distraction, striking the golem. But the uncle leaps into the air, declaring that today Du Cheng will fall. The Night Hound intercepts him, lunging forward with a furious roar. The uncle prepares a special attack, a dark energy swirling around him. But Lin Luo just smirks, his own dark aura flaring to life. The Night Hound is suddenly blasted back, realizing it's been fighting a mere clone. The Night Hound realizes his hand-picked team is failing. And with victory impossible, he makes the only logical choice. Run. He unleashes a powerful blast, forcing the Guardians back. The Guardian is thrown aside by the sudden, desperate attack, but his eyes burn with a cold, unwavering determination. He tells Lin Luo to go home, promising they'll handle the pursuit. But when he turns, he finds that Lin Luo is already gone. Tang Cheng points to the sky, revealing our boy is already on the case. The fleeing Du Cheng seethes, blaming Lin Luo for his utter failure. He vows that once he returns to his true body, he will have his revenge. But the Night Hound is suddenly overcome by a host of unpleasant symptoms. It looks up to see Lin Luo, surrounded by his full arsenal of medical malpractice. Lin Luo is impressed, noting the beast's surprising tolerance for pain. But he's about to make things much, much worse. With Little Green's help, he quadruples the agony, unleashing his full power. The Night Hound roars as the cocktail of curses consumes it. It tries to make one final threat, but the pain is too much to bear. Its body begins to break down under the overwhelming assault. The creature's form dissolves into a mass of dark, swirling energy. And just like that, another of the fallen is completely annihilated. The villain's body dissolves, leaving behind a strange, dark pearl. Lin Luo reveals he was stacking curses the entire time the man was fleeing. But his attention is suddenly drawn to another piece of loot. He recognizes it as a space ring, a rare item he immediately claims for himself. He then turns his attention back to the mysterious dark pearl. Just then, the Guardians arrive asking if he's all right. They're stunned to learn he actually killed the infamous Du Cheng. One of them admits that even their full team might not have been a match for him. Tang Chung points to the orb, asking what it is. The lead guardian identifies it as a dark beast pearl. The guardian explains the pearl is a rare drop, the source of Ducheng's power over beasts. But Lin Luo is only interested in its cash value, thanking the man for the appraisal. The guardian then extends an official invitation to join their ranks on behalf of the deputy chief. He lists the perks, including official status in the Dragon Kingdom and free tuition. The offer gets even better with a house and a massive salary, a horrifying fate for any protagonist, a stable government job. Lin Luo politely declines, explaining he's not one for being constrained. As they leave, Tang Chung begs to learn the skill that makes monsters fight each other. Lin Luo casually agrees, promising to teach him when he has time. The guardians are left speechless, unable to believe someone would turn down such a good offer. But Lin Luo has his eyes on a much bigger prize than a steady paycheck. He examines the space ring, wondering what treasures it holds. Later that night, under a full moon, the deputy city guard receives a full report on the night's chaos. The guardian explains that despite his best efforts, Lin Luo refused their invitation. The old official asks for a reason, and the guardian speculates it's because of his ties to the Lian family. But the old man dismisses the idea, citing the Lian family's powerful alliances. He believes the family has its own agenda, and that Lin Luo will inevitably clash with them. The guardian offers another theory. Perhaps the boy is simply prejudiced against them. He explains their duty to maintain order often puts them at odds with the great families, who use their influence to control the media and turn the public against them, who see them as a force that only restricts their freedom. But the old official is focused on Lin Luo, declaring his talent is undeniable. The guardian suggests using a powerful prophet to read the boy's mind, but the old man furiously rejects the idea, citing their own code of honor. He decides to handle the recruitment personally, dismissing his subordinate. The younger guardian can only agree and take his leave. Alone, the old official reviews a file connecting Lin Luo to the Lian family. He remembers Lian Zheng, an epic-level professional, and a dark theory begins to form. The realization hits him with the force of a physical blow. He seethes, knowing a greater threat is coming, and vows to protect Lin Luo from the great family's selfish games. Back home, Lin Luo reflects on the night's chaotic events. He knows the Fallen are a fractured group, split into cults worshipping different evil gods. And having killed 2 members of the Night Watch, he's made a very powerful enemy. But he decides to focus on the present and the loot he just acquired. A massive horde of items spills out from the space ring. He's stunned to find anonymous gold cards, making him filthy rich. The ring is also packed with rare monster parts and valuable materials. He then spots a strange mask, its function a complete mystery until worn. Deciding not to risk a weird mutation, he puts it aside for now. His search continues, and he finds a skill book for a psychic art called Bewitching. He decides this new psychic art is perfect for him, and immediately learns it. And of course, it mutates into Stockholm Self-Deception Syndrome. He recognizes the name from his past life, a truly twisted form of mental manipulation. He wonders if this new skill will come in handy for tomorrow's final matches. The next day, the final 4 professionals prepare for the semifinals. But Tang Cheng is worried, unable to find Lian Yining anywhere. Lin Luo checks his phone, realizing she hasn't responded to any of his messages. Tang Cheng speculates the worst, but Lin Luo knows kidnapping someone from the Lian family is a death sentence. He decides to contact her aunt, the woman in red, for answers. But before he can, Tang Cheng tells him it's time for his match to begin. Lin Luo tells his friend they'll worry about Yining later. For now, he has a rematch to win against Dongfang and his dragon. The crowd notes the dragon is much bigger this time, clearly juiced up by the family's fortune. In the stands, the Dongfang elders confirm they've spared no expense for this victory. They note that Lin Luo, a commoner with a unique style, has stolen the spotlight. And it seems the crowd is firmly on his side, hoping for another embarrassing defeat for the dragon. But elsewhere, the deputy city guard receives an urgent message. His subordinate reports that the head of the Lian family has just left the city for the deep sea. The old official isn't surprised, realizing Lian Zheng is finally making his move. He recalls a past conflict, a clash between Lian Zheng and a powerful sea emperor. He explains that Lian Zheng stole a job transfer item, using it to ascend to the epic realm as the Storm Lord. His subordinate questions why the empire wouldn't protect him, but the old man knows better. He reveals Lian Zheng has a rival, and to reach the next level, one must kill the other. His plan is to use his daughter to forge an alliance, sacrificing her for his own ambition. The subordinate panics, knowing Lin Luo will be furious if Lian Yining is taken. But the old official reveals he's already made a countermove, the sly fox. He's arranged for another suitor to arrive, blocking Lian Zheng's plan completely. He admits he's protecting Lin Luo, but also just can't stand a man who'd use his own daughter. Meanwhile, back in the arena, the final battle begins with a deafening roar. Lin Luo asks if Dongfang is ready for another public humiliation. Dongfang tries to calm his enraged dragon, promising it revenge. The crowd notes the dragon's grudge, especially after its incident. The Dongfang elders watch with concern, sensing something is off. The patriarch can only wait, his expression grim. As the match begins, Dongfang and his dragon charge forward. The massive beast lunges, its jaws wide with fury. But Lin Luo calmly summons a massive wall of ice. The dragon shatters the barrier with its overwhelming power, and Dongfang leaps through the wreckage, ready to strike. But his attack goes wide, his expression shifting to shock. He strikes his own dragon, plunging his weapon into its face. The crowd realizes he's been caught in an illusion, mistaking his pet for the enemy. He tries to explain it was an accident, a result of Lin Luo's control skill. But the dragon isn't listening, its trust completely broken. Knowing his bond is shattered, Dongfang decides to use his trump card. He unleashes his full power, vowing to show Lin Luo the true meaning of a family's backing. The crowd recognizes his top-tier equipment, a fortune spent just for this one fight. But Lin Luo is unimpressed, ready to see if money can truly buy victory. Dongfang gathers his energy, preparing a devastating final strike. He boasts that he's come prepared with a cocktail of antivirus pills and vaccinations. He declares that Lin Luo's dirty tricks are useless now. But Lin Luo easily sidesteps the incoming attack. Dongfang can only stare in disbelief, shocked that he dodged. He questions how a priest could possibly be more agile than him. The crowd is just as stunned, assuming he's using a temporary speed boost. But the Dongfang patriarch's subordinate senses something is terribly wrong. Dongfang suddenly freezes in place, his charge completely halted. Lin Luo admits his viral skills won't work, but he has a new curse with no known vaccine. He unleashes it on the dragon, telling it to enjoy the sudden change in mood. Dongfang's eyes fill with a strange, sudden affection for his pet. A creepy grin spreads across his face as the curse takes hold. In his mind, the dragon has been replaced by a far more alluring figure. He's completely lost in the illusion, his senses overwhelmed. He leaps forward, calling out to the beauty before him. The crowd can only watch in utter disbelief and horror. They can't believe he'd do something so questionable to his own pet. So this is what it means to be a dragon knight. How educational. The dragon can only stand there, confused by its master's sudden change. But Dongfang is still lost in his own world, seeing an annoying little demon. He promises the beauty that he means no harm, but his advances are met with a very clear rejection. Still, Dongfang is undeterred, completely lost in the illusion. The dragon finally has enough, swatting its master away with a furious roar. The crowd realizes the dragon is holding back out of loyalty. They know that for such a proud creature, this is the ultimate humiliation. Elsewhere in the stands, the Murong family patriarch watches the chaos. He turns to Murong Shuihen, asking why she's here. She explains her match is over and she's enjoying the once-in-a-century spectacle. She deduces the illusion is simply revealing his true, lecherous nature. The Murong patriarch is so disgusted he immediately cancels the marriage proposal. Murong Shuihen can only smile, enjoying the Dongfang family's public humiliation. Meanwhile, the Dongfang patriarch seethes as the crowd mocks his son's behavior. His subordinates urge him to forfeit the match to save what little face they have left. But he refuses, declaring that only a decisive victory can erase this disgrace. A woman suggests casting a spell, but he knows cursing Lin Luo would be far too risky. She offers a sly smile, a new plan forming. She clarifies her target isn't Lin Luo but Dongfang himself. The patriarch agrees, but she warns that breaking the illusion will take time. He sees an opening, noting that Lin Luo is focused on the dragon, giving them the time they need. He unleashes another curse on the massive beast. The dark art rips across its tough hide. It roars in agony, trying to shake off the pain, but the relentless assault continues without pause. Lin Luo notes its high resistance, a truly powerful creature. But his mental curse isn't taking hold on the beast. Meanwhile, Dongfang is still lost in his own little world. He grabs onto his pet, completely unaware of reality. A strange symbol appears on the dragon's scales. He continues his advances, his patience wearing thin. A red energy swirls around Dongfang's hand. He declares that no one will stop him from claiming his prize. He lunges forward with a fiery, determined strike. The crowd is left completely speechless by what they're witnessing, as he delivers a very personal and very inappropriate attack on his own pet. The dragon lets out a roar of pure agony and betrayal. In the stands, the Dongfang family finally manages to break the curse. Dongfang freezes, the illusion finally shattering around him. He looks around, dazed, asking where the beautiful woman went. The horrifying realization dawns on him that the beauty was his dragon all along. He desperately tries to explain it was all a misunderstanding, but the dragon's eyes burn with a cold, unforgiving fury. Dongfang can only plead with his betrayed companion. The beast lets out a final, deafening roar of defiance. It turns its back on him, its loyalty completely shattered, and flies away, ignoring its master's desperate commands. In the stands, the Dongfang family realizes the contract has been broken. They've just lost a priceless, multi-generational family asset. The weight of their failure settles upon them. The patriarch declares the match lost. Their only priority now is to get their dragon back. The Dongfang family makes a hasty and very public exit. An official reports their departure, assuming they've given up the prize. But the old man knows a priceless dragon is worth far more. He immediately orders his guardians to find the now ownerless beast. But they're not the only ones who've noticed the opportunity. A new agent of the Fallen sees the dragon as a path to greater power, and she too sends her forces to claim the prize. Back in the arena, Dongfang is left defeated and alone. He glares at Lin Luo, his mind consumed by pure hatred, and unleashes a final, powerless roar of absolute fury. Lin Luo calmly asks why his opponent is yelling so loud, but Dongfang charges forward, blaming Lin Luo for his utter humiliation. He leaps into the air for a final, desperate strike. Meanwhile, the crowd gossips about his questionable hobbies. Their words cut deep, fueling his uncontrollable rage. He unleashes a massive golden thunderstrike that slams into the arena with devastating force, but it's completely blocked by a wall of solid ice. Dongfang can't believe his ultimate attack was stopped so easily. Lin Luo explains that playtime is over. He's in a hurry now. He raises his hand ready to finally end this, and reveals his true weapons, 2 massive glowing scalpels. The crowd is stunned, realizing he wasn't even serious in his previous fights. But Dongfang just laughs, mocking the absurd choice of weapon. Lin Luo tells him to enjoy it while he can, because he won't be laughing for much longer. Dongfang looks around, confused, believing it was just a bluff. But then, his body begins to contort in a strange, unsettling way. Lin Luo congratulates him on his sudden gender reassignment, a truly progressive form of combat. Enraged, Dongfang demands to be changed back immediately. Dongfang collapses, his body racked with a sudden, unfamiliar pain. He glares up, demanding to know what other horrors Lin Luo has inflicted. Lin Luo calmly explains the biological changes, adding a final, humiliating taunt. The sheer shock and agony are too much, and Dongfang coughs up blood. He finally loses consciousness, and the referee declares Lin Luo the winner. The next match is announced, a final showdown between Lin Luo and Murong Xuehen. But Murong Xuehen seems hesitant, suggesting they shouldn't fight at all. The crowd waits with bated breath for the final battle to begin. But Lin Luo is distracted, telling Tang Chung he just got an urgent message from Lian Yining's aunt. Suddenly, an announcement declares Murong Xuehen has forfeited, making Lin Luo the undisputed champion. A strange symbol glows on Lin Luo's forehead. He tells Tang Chung he's leaving to handle the emergency. Meanwhile, Murong Xuehen's team questions her decision to forfeit. They can't believe she'd give up the world wonder so easily. She explains the fight is a coin toss, with a high risk of permanent injury. Her father agrees, knowing a messy win would ruin their family's reputation. He declares that her public image is far too important to risk. After all, her reputation is worth more than any prize. But she reveals another reason. It's better to befriend Lin Luo than to make an enemy of him. Her father can only hope the boy is truly worth the investment. The award ceremony officially begins, and the announcer calls for the champion, Lin Luo, to give a speech. But the officials are left confused, wondering where their first-place winner has gone. Tang Chung nervously takes the stage, explaining his friend had an urgent matter to attend to. The old official sighs, guessing it's about Lian Yining, and decides to let this slide. Elsewhere, Lin Luo learns the truth from her aunt. Lian Yining's father is forcing her into a marriage on Nine Snake Island. He questions the urgency, wondering why she couldn't even send a message herself. He reads her letter, a promise to meet him at Imperial University in 2 months. His mind is now set on a new goal, a new destination. He demands to know if Lian Yining is in real trouble, but her aunt can only apologize, saying she's revealed all she can before she too must depart. She leaves him with a final, cryptic warning about his own weakness. With nothing left to say, Lin Luo turns to leave, but she stops him, admitting that she lied to him. She tells him that Lian Yining's feelings are genuine and asks him to cherish her. He looks back with a quiet understanding and thanks her for the truth. Later that night, he recalls what he knows of Nine Snake Island. He questions its connection to the Lian family, a powerful but distant force. Suddenly, he senses a strange movement from within his storage space. He pulls out the strange mask he looted from the fallen agent. It's a communication device, broadcasting an urgent call for help. The masked figure reveals the device is a key to a virtual plaza, a hub for the Night Watch. He declares this is his chance to finally claim Dongfang's lost dragon. Meanwhile, in a high-tech medical facility, Dongfang lies in a daze. He can only mutter about his lost companion, his dragon pet. A doctor explains that while his physical wounds have healed, the mental trauma runs deep. He clarifies that a full recovery is possible, but the family has a very specific request. The Dongfang patriarch explodes in rage at the idea of tainting their bloodline. The family coldly discusses marrying him off, deciding the bloodline is more important than his pride. But Dongfang furiously declares he's still an S-class dragon knight and will never accept this fate. The patriarch reminds him that without the dragon the family raised, he is nothing. Dongfang is now a prisoner in his own home, and furiously rejects his family's new plan for his future. Meanwhile, the Dongfang patriarch receives an urgent report. He learns the dragon has been found and orders his men to retrieve it at any cost. Back in his room, Dongfang realizes the cold truth of his situation, but he refuses to accept this fate, finding a new resolve to reclaim his dragon. Elsewhere in the Pale Canyon, a new figure arrives. It's Lin Luo, using the mask to infiltrate the Night Watch's virtual plaza. He's immediately greeted as a high-ranking senior, and is quickly briefed on the situation. The dragon is here, and the Guardians are in their way. Lin Luo agrees to investigate the commotion. Down in the canyon, a dark power begins to coalesce. A massive demonic beast roars, bound by heavy chains. It's an all-out war between the Guardians and the Night Watch, all fighting for the now ownerless dragon, a prize too valuable to ignore. From his hiding spot, Lin Luo spots a familiar face in the chaos. A member of the Night Watch confronts a Guardian, claiming the dragon for his own. He unleashes a devastating fiery claw attack. The ground shatters under the force of the blow. The villain taunts his old rival, calling him weak for choosing to be a hero. The villain offers his rival a spot in the Night Watch, mocking his heroic ideals. But the Guardian rejects him, declaring that strength without purpose is empty. His eyes burn with unwavering conviction. The villain scoffs, ready to let him die for that so-called purpose. He unleashes a dark projectile, aiming to end the fight. But a shadowy arrow intercepts it from the side. A new challenger arrives, an archer from the Dongfang family. The villain just laughs, citing the universal law of finders keepers. The Guardian roars, furious at being ignored in the middle of their battle, and a massive explosion erupts as the three-way conflict begins. The fiery Guardian holds his own against the Night Watch. From the shadows, Lin Luo assesses the situation, deciding to wait for the right moment. But his attention is suddenly drawn elsewhere. Another figure has slipped past the battle lines. A woman he recognizes as Dongfang He. With everyone distracted, she sees her chance to claim the prize. She approaches the dragon, hoping to forge a new contract. But the beast just roars, clearly not over its recent trauma. Lin Luo realizes the dragon is still deeply disturbed and Dongfang He is in serious trouble. Just then, another man appears, warning her to get away. The Night Watch elder unleashes a fiery attack, furious that she dared approach the dragon. Dongfang He is caught in the blast, screaming for her dragon. The flames consume her completely, as the traumatized beast can only roar in terror. The elder reveals his plan. Seeing its master's relative fall will make the dragon fight. His subordinate worries they're being overwhelmed, but the elder is confident, ordering them to secure the prize. His minions rush off to carry out his command. Meanwhile, the Guardians rally, identifying the elder as their primary target. But the Night Watch is already moving to restrain the beast, refusing to let it escape. From the cliffs above, Lin Luo watches the chaos unfold. He steps forward, offering his assistance to the struggling minions. The enraged dragon thrashes against its chains, roaring in defiance. The minions beg their senior for help, and he gladly agrees. He prepares to help by unleashing one of his signature curses. The minion is immediately consumed by the dark art, screaming in agony. His comrades can only stare in shock, realizing they've been betrayed. They turn on him with furious cries, ready to avenge their fallen ally. But Lin Luo is already casting his next spell, Mental Confusion. The minions immediately turn on each other, lost in a mindless rage. The Night Watch elder tightens his grip on the dragon's chains. He taunts his rival, saying he should be grateful for his help. He calls out the Guardian by name, his power flaring to life. The elder's mask shatters, revealing a face twisted with pure rage. He unleashes a devastating blast of energy that rips through the canyon floor. He scoffs at his opponent's speed, declaring it's not enough to win. But a sudden movement catches him completely off guard. An arrow from the Dongfang archer finds its mark, staggering him. And from the chaos, a new challenger emerges, demanding justice for a fallen comrade. The Dongfang archer declares he'll deal with the others later. As a new observer wonders why the Night Watch is fighting itself, she recalls that B-72 was Du Cheng's number, a man killed by Lin Luo. The truth dawns on her. Lin Luo has the mask and is far more important than any dragon. Meanwhile, the Guardians rally, vowing to save the Night Watchman known as B-72. Bless their heroic, misguided hearts. But the Night Watch Elder erupts in a furious crimson aura. He glares at the heroes, enraged by their interference. He gathers his power, promising to crush them before turning on B-72. A massive wave of dark energy consumes the battlefield. He grabs the fiery Guardian, ready to end his life. But the Elder suddenly vanishes in a flash of red light, vowing to return. The remaining fighters can only stare, completely baffled by the sudden retreat. Just then, a new, far more powerful figure descends upon the battlefield. He reveals he knows the killer's identity through a bloodline connection. The Dongfang archer urges his ancestor to give chase and avenge their family. The Guardian recognizes him as Dongfang Wuyue, an epic-level professional. The ancestor agrees to hunt the killer, ordering his men to secure the fallen's body. But the Guardian's attention turns to the other Night Watchman still on the field. He calls out the Elder by name, revealing he's an undercover Guardian agent. The Dongfang archer is stunned, questioning how a spy could rise so high in the ranks. The undercover agent dismisses the Dongfang archer and leads Lin Luo away. He then begins to lecture Lin Luo for his reckless infiltration of the Night Watch. He insists the boy needs to be disciplined, as Lin Luo sheepishly admits he's been caught. But their conversation is suddenly interrupted. Dongfang's dragon appears before them, its eyes fixed on the duo. Lin Luo just smirks, convinced the massive beast has come to see him. Meanwhile, the Dongfang family is baffled, realizing Dongfang has escaped their prison. The patriarch reveals he gave his son a resurrection item, but it hasn't been used. Just then, his phone begins to ring with an urgent call. He's told that Dongfang has taken his own life, his whereabouts now a complete mystery. He realizes Dongfang used a rebirth item to escape his curse. All of this just to get his dragon back. The undercover agent warns him to be careful, as the traumatized beast fixes its gaze on Lin Luo. But Lin Luo senses no hostility, only a strange connection. He reaches out, feeling that bond grow stronger, and the massive beast allows him to touch it. His newest, most twisted skill is already at work. The agent can only watch as the proud creature nuzzles against the boy. Lin Luo smirks as his new ally urges him to seal the contract immediately. The agent is stunned as Lin Luo pulls out a top-tier Styx contract. A golden light confirms the contract has been successfully sealed. He declares the beast is now his, as the agent muses on the birth of a dragon priest. Lin Luo is amazed by its stats, far superior to even a silver-class boss. The agent explains the Dongfang family's investment is the reason for its power. Lin Luo decides to give his new companion a name, Crimson. He takes its happy purr as agreement and leaps onto its back for a joyride. The agent struggles to report the unbelievable news to the deputy city lord. He explains that Dongfang's dragon is now being joyfully ridden by Lin Luo. The old official can only demand to know if he's absolutely sure it wasn't an illusion. The old official knows the Dongfang family will stop at nothing to reclaim their prize. But he also knows Lin Luo has no way to hide a massive, flying asset. He orders his agent to take them to a remote base, a temporary safe haven for the boy and his new pet. Meanwhile, in a much less friendly home, the Dongfang ancestor Wu Yue learns his target has escaped. He seethes, vowing revenge for his family's recent humiliation and loss. A subordinate tries to calm him, promising to uphold the family line. But Wu Yue cares little for that, demanding to know if he can replace their lost dragon knight. He declares they will recapture the dragon and use a dark art to hunt down the killer. Back in the canyon, the dust settles on the battlefield. Dongfang seethes, cursing his family and the man who stole his dragon. But a sudden burst of dark energy stops him in his tracks. A shadowy figure appears, revealing it saved him from the Dongfang ancestor. The Lord of the Dark Mist demands repayment, an offer Dongfang questions in his weakened state. But the shadowy lord offers a gift in return, the arm of a dragonborn. In exchange, Dongfang must become his spokesperson in the Night Watch. Dongfang is clearly confused by the sudden proposition. The Lord of the Dark Mist simply declares that Dongfang is now his loyal follower. Meanwhile, back at home, Lin Luo finally returns from his adventure. He explains he's collected his grand prize from Tang Cheng, He opens the box, finally ready to see the legendary world's wonder. Inside, a strange blue light emanates from the prize. He's completely stunned by what he finds within. It's a tiny, googly-eyed slime, a conceptual creature born from the collision of worlds. He can't believe this is the treasure the great families fought and bled for. Even Little Green seems curious about the new arrival. His tiny companion warns him to be careful, as the creature is very much alive. But his moment of discovery is cut short by a knock at the door. He opens it to find the deputy city guard himself waiting on his doorstep. The old man notes with a chuckle that the great families would be furious to see him playing with their grand prize. The tiny slime creature glares at the old man, who chuckles at his mistake. He offers a small, glowing crystal as a peace offering, which the slime immediately devours without a second thought. Lin Luo apologizes for his new pet's manners, but the old man gets straight to the point. Our boy politely refuses the offer to join the Guardians once again, but the old official clarifies he understands Lin Luo's desire for freedom. He explains they have a special position for freelancers like him, honored guest. It's a role with all the freedom and rewards, but none of the commitment. Lin Luo admits the offer is tempting, but he wants to know the catch. The old man explains it's a bet on his future, a position that even grants him authority over other guardians. The old man explains this is the best offer he can possibly make. An offer too good to refuse, Lin Luo finally agrees to join. The official is pleased, presenting him with the badge of an honored guest. One token grants authority, while the other is a perfect place to hide a certain giant stolen dragon. Lin Luo accepts, realizing these gifts are exactly what he needs. He then changes the subject, asking what this world's wonder actually does. The old man explains its true power is far beyond his current level. It's a key to the mythical realm, the final step on the path to godhood. He reveals it was won in a brutal battle against powerful deep-sea aliens. And to avoid fighting over the damaged prize, they made it a reward for the exam. The old man chuckles, amused that the great families were outplayed by a single student. But Lin Luo notes the prize is broken and needs a time-space gap to be repaired. The official explains this refers to powerful rule fragments, found only in the most dangerous monster territories. He lists the 3 main locations: outer space, dungeons, and the starry sea. He panics, thinking Lin Luo is about to go on a suicide run, but our boy just plays it cool. The conversation shifts to the future, and which university Lin Luo plans to attend. The old man recommends Imperial University, casually mentioning a certain hostage from Nine Snakes Island will be there. The name immediately catches Lin Luo's attention, as he remembers Lian Yining was taken there. The old man teases him, saying the whole city knows they're a couple, and assures him she's safe. Lin Luo asks to send her a letter, a small favor for the Guardian's newest member. Later that night, rain falls on the city streets. The deputy city guard rides in silence, lost in thought. His subordinate confirms that Lin Luo accepted their offer. But the old man is more concerned with the mysterious slime creature. He knows the boy is hiding far more secrets than they realize. Meanwhile, the city has turned Lin Luo into a full-blown brand. Our boy walks the streets, realizing he's suddenly famous. His fans swarm him, asking for autographs and medical advice. The questions quickly become far too personal for his comfort. Lin Luo is completely overwhelmed by this strange new form of fame. He activates adrenaline rush, making a hasty retreat from his new fans. He realizes that fame comes with a lot of unwanted attention and wild rumors. Now at level 40, he knows it's time to upgrade his gear. But his shopping trip is immediately interrupted by more onlookers. His new followers have some very specific requests for the evil doctor. But a new arrival silences the crowd with a single word. It's Murong Shuihan who tells the fans to show some respect. She steps between them, declaring that Lin Luo has an appointment with her. The crowd recognizes the powerful woman and quickly disperses. He thanks her for the save, and she dismisses it as a small matter. She asks why he's shopping alone, and he explains he needs to upgrade his gear. Murong Shuihan offers to show him the best place in the city. She leads him to a high-end shop owned by her family, offering a generous discount. Lin Luo browses the selection, admitting it's impressive, but notes the lack of high-grade equipment for his level. She explains that gold-level items are usually reserved for the wealthy elite. She then makes another offer for him to join her family, which he politely refuses. She accepts his decision, but mentions his future with the Lian family. Her words catch his attention, realizing she knows more than she's letting on. She reveals that Lian Yining was taken to Nine Snake Island for an arranged marriage. She clarifies that Lian Yining was taken by force, a pawn in her father's quest for greater power, but a powerful figure intervened on his behalf. The deputy city guard, a debt he can't easily repay. She lists her good deeds, asking for his friendship in return. He agrees, knowing an ally like her is invaluable. And as a sign of their new friendship, she offers a gift. Her attendant summons a powerful item from a scroll. It's an epic-level staff, a weapon of immense power. Linluo is stunned by the sheer value of her gift. She explains the staff is a family treasure, not for outsiders, but friends are a different story. Linluo accepts, offering to pay what he can and cover the rest with materials. She agrees, telling him to call her by her first name from now on. After selling his loot, he buys the staff for a hefty sum and uses the rest of his newfound fortune to stock up on supplies. With his business concluded, he heads to Black Steel Mountain to retrieve his new companion. He tells Crimson they're finally leaving the city, their mission to repair the world's wonder. And their first destination is a monster territory just outside the region.